is open to you.
Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? Nice, nice. Well, welcome. I'm Reverend Tracy and delighted to have you here this morning in this community that comes together every week to remind each other of just how wonderful we all are, right? And that where it doesn't feel wonderful, we are here to love and support each other right on through that. And I want to thank you all for coming in on this beautiful day. Is this not lovely today? Oh my goodness. What a pleasure. What a pleasure. All right, I want to take a second and acknowledge our folks that are joining us on live stream. So everybody wave to the back of the room and say hello, 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 welcome. Know that in spirit there is no time and space. Therefore, you are right here, right now, right along with the rest of us. And it is a glorious thing. So I'm delighted to have you here and I want to tell you who's playing with me on platform this morning. Our practitioner of the week is Miss Patty Powers. Looking lovely in lavender. And she will be doing our opening prayer and a reading to get us centered this morning. And we also have a little bit of music over here. We've got, what's that guy's name again? Yeah, that piano player guy. Oh yeah, Jeff. We got Jeff. Yeah. And his friends that bring their own toys to play with us, the Jacksons. So happy to have you here. All right, before we begin this morning, I want to make an announcement. Some of you already know, some of you may not know, that today we want to remember and celebrate our friend Bill West, who made his transition this week. So his family is all together. Virgie has lots of support there with her, and his son Sam and other family members are there. And we as a congregation are sending an arrangement to the family, letting them know that we love and miss and celebrate and honor him. I know most of you had long-term relationships with Bill. He was part of our board when I was hired. He was on the board that hired me. He was always an active participant and an entertainer. So we love and hold that memory and say prayers and send love and light to his family to support them. And my heart goes out to all of you who have known him so much longer than I did. I know I delighted in knowing him, and I want to acknowledge that some of you have known him a very long time. So blessings and peace to all of us in his memory. All right, let's get started by centering down, shall we? I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath and close your eyes if you're comfortable, and let the sound of the bowl take you within. Breathing into that heart space, that place untouched by the human world. That inner spark of knowing, of guidance, of love, of peace.
So in this space of peace, we just rest and feel the peace as it spreads through our very being. We know that we are peace, we feel peace, and it relaxes us and centers us. And in this peace within, we know that today is blessed. We know that everyone listening to this, seeing this, being here with us today is blessed. And so in this knowing, in this being peace, we are grateful for today. And we just let it flow. And in this flow, in this peace, we let it go and let it be and say together, so it is. Good morning. My reading today is from Creative Mind, Tapping the Power Within by Ernest Holmes, and it's called Be Happy. How can we hope to make the world the right way unless we overflow with joy? The world has now too many sad faces. We see them everywhere. That resigned look that seems to say, one rebuff more or less makes no difference. I am already so sad that nothing matters. I can bear it. This was all right when we thought everything was all wrong. But now that we know all's well with the world, we must get over the depression which robs us of the power of attraction of good things in life and enter in. The man who is always glad will surround himself with people who are happy, and life will be a continual enjoyment. This robs no one. It does not make a race of irresponsible people. It makes a world of joy, a world that is good to live in. No one wants to associate with the sad. People are looking for a more abundant expression of life, not for depression and fault-finding. Find fault with no one, and more than this, no fault with yourself. Get over the thought of condemning people and things. People and things are all right. Let them alone and enjoy life. Your very atmosphere will cheer and uplift the people who contact you, and a new life will enter into them, overflow. As it is given to me to perceive, I most certainly believe. When a man's glad plumb through, God's pleased with him, same as you. Thank you.
And we welcome the Jacksons. Yes.
Good morning. It's always so wonderful to be here. We would like to share a song with you this morning. Our first song is called Starting Over Again. I'm gonna follow my heart, 'cause I know where it's going. I look up ahead, love will show me the way. The skies are gray, and the rains are coming. Another year, and spring's on its way. And the earth will rest and replenish itself, and the spring will come, and we'll plant once again with the seeds we've saved from our harvest last year. Nature's cycle will start once again. All the world is in constant motion, ever moving, ever changing. We are part of this movement, just as we are part of the whole. And the earth will rest and replenish itself, and the spring will come, and we'll plant once again with the seeds we've saved from our harvest last year. Nature's cycle will start once again. I'm gonna follow my heart, 'cause I know where it's going. I look ahead, love will show me the way. I'm gonna follow my heart, 'cause I know where it's going. I look ahead, love will show me the way. I look ahead, love will show me the way. Thank you.
You know, if you make the minister cry, it's really hard to start the talk. Thank you. That was beautiful. Sounds like maybe you've been listening to what we say on Sundays. I don't know. You guys are kind of like that, aren't you? Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Well, let's light our candle this morning. And we light it for the seasons of our lives. Those cycles of life and death and rebirth, the seasons of change, that infinite rhythm of life that is our very breath. We teach in Science of Mind that how we look at life influences our experience of life, right? And so my title today is Weeds or Wine. I would like to point out it is not weed or wine. I know what that means. That is not what we're talking about. Weeds or wine. And what got me thinking about this was a picture of a dandelion on a cover of a book. And I thought, you know, dandelions mean different things to different people, right? To the toddler, it's the magic carrier of wishes, right? How many of you have held a dandelion that has already blossomed into its little white fuzzball in front of a kid and say, blow here, make a wish, blow here? Now, to the landscaper at the golf course, they are just this side of evil. The dandelions, not the toddlers. It's perspective, right? It's how we see it and how it fits our framework that already exists as how we see life. And it's not that dandelions in and of themselves are right or wrong. We have to remember that not only is it a pesky weed that interrupts our perfect lawn or our idea of a perfect lawn, it also makes really good wine. Oh, weeds or wine. Get it? Get it. You're with me now, I can tell. I have this great reading from Ram Dass. And you may have heard it before. He says, when you go out into the woods and you look at the trees, you see all these different trees. Some of them are bent, and some of them are straight, and some of them are evergreens. Some of them are whatever. And you look at the tree and you allow it. You see why it is the way it is. You sort of understand it didn't get enough light, so it went off in this other direction. And you don't get all emotional about it. You just allow it. The minute you get near humans, you lose all that. You're constantly saying, you're to this or I'm to that. That judgment mind comes in. And so I practice turning people into trees, which means appreciating them just the way they are. Appreciate life the way it is. Appreciate the person in front of you for who they are. We tend to want to change things or people or circumstances that are uncomfortable for us or challenge us or are toxic to us. We want to make that different. And yet our call in life is to allow life to be life and to work within to see rightly. To see that without the judgment, without the human judgment, because human judgment comes from a place of what's best for me, what's right for me, how do I protect myself, how do I keep all those dangerous things at bay. Instead of that, to see rightly, to see righteously, to see with the eyes of spirit, is to understand that all life is part of the whole. All life. The dark, the light, the death, the life, the weed, the seed bearer. All seasons have their place. All seasons have their blessings. It's up to us to make right use of those gifts. To get away from the idea that fall and winter are cold and therefore bad, or that spring and summer are warm and beautiful and sunny and therefore good. We've been talking this month about how we need the entire rhythm. If there is no rest in the winter, there would be no spring. If there is no harvest and a letting go in the fall, we wouldn't have all of the plants of summer. Alan Cohen wrote an essay about bamboo. And he says, bamboo doesn't look like anything in the winter. There's no growth, there's no sprouting, there's no nothing in the winter, because in the winter, bamboo deepens its roots. And come spring and summer, it can grow multiple inches a day as it sprouts and the stalks and the leaves take form in the light. The plant is nourished from below and nourished from above, and it does each in its proper season. So what looks dead in the winter is dormant, or working in the invisible, working underneath the ground in the foundation, which is what we do when we take a step back from the bright activity of life and allow ourselves to go into the stillness, into the quiet, into the peaceful places within us, that we too might deepen our roots. And when you think about our lives, it's those dark times that have really strengthened our foundation, yes? When it's harder to get through life for whatever reason, economically or a relationship or your spiritual dark night of the soul, what's happening in that time in the invisible is the deepening of our faith through questioning, through doubt, even through fear and worry and concern. Out of that comes a broader perspective, a broader base, a stronger foundation from which to live. Because in those dark times, we learn something about ourselves. We prove to ourselves again and again and again, we come through things stronger, wiser, maybe a little more tired, but not for long. Because truly, that rhythm of life works in us just as it works on the planet. Our affirmation can be, I accept the gifts available where I stand. I accept the gifts available where I stand. In other words, wherever I am in my life, whatever's going on, whoever's in front of me, whatever issue I'm looking at, there are gifts, and I accept them. And this is what allows us to base ourselves in the spiritual truth of life, that we might bring it into our daily human experience. Ernest Holmes says it only makes sense to start right where we are. It's not logical to think we're going to start somewhere else. So right where we are, there are gifts. So in my, during my vacation time last month, I found a new show to binge watch. I'm not proud of binge watching, but I'm willing to own up to it. It's a good show. It's called Good Bones. Anybody know it? It's a rehabilitate house show, flipping houses kind of thing. Yeah. It's a mother-daughter team. Their company is called Two Chicks and a Hammer. Gotta love that. They live in Indianapolis, and their goal is to support and sustain and beautify Indianapolis one property at a time. And the term good bones is what people say about the framework of a house, right? You walk in, the place may be a disaster area, but you can see how grand the ceilings are, how beautiful the rooms are, how much light is coming in from the back of the house. The house has good bones. It has a structure to start with. Now, also in Science of Mind, we talk all the time about seeing beyond appearances, right? We know that first impression is not the whole story. We know that no matter how bad it looks, we're going to get through it and something good's going to come out of it, because that's how we've lived our lives. So they have the ability to go in and look at a house that is a disaster area and see the possibilities, see the potential. And I'm not talking about just take out the old wood paneling from 1957. I'm talking about houses with boarded up windows and a burned out kitchen. They still come in and say, oh, this is one we can do. Now they know they're going to have to put money into the foundation or fix the sewer pipes or, tear down the second story and start over. Most of the time they don't start from a clean slate though. They build on what is already there. And don't we do the same thing? It doesn't matter, in one sense, what we did before today, except that it shaped the shape of our home, our house, our mental space, and we are building on that constantly. Now, sometimes it does make sense to go through and knock out the porch that was added on 20 years ago that nobody did it right and it doesn't look good and I'm not using it and I'd rather have a patio. It's true in a relationship. It's true in our bank account. It's true in our spiritual exploration. Hey, I started this practice 20 years ago, and when I do it now, it's just, I'm just repeating words. It doesn't mean anything. Time to do something new. Because my house has good bones, but it's due for a makeover, an uplift. Take out the false ceiling. Vault it. Lift your eyes up. Now, one of the reasons these two women work well together, besides the fact that they're mother and daughter, as some of you know, that is no guarantee. It's mom who finds the treasure in the closet and pulls it out so that something from the old addition of the house will be brought forward into the new. So, for example, back wall of a closet has wallpaper on it. They demo the whole house. They strip it down to the studs, but they make sure the guys pull out this back wall as one piece. Mom frames it, cleans it up. It becomes a backdrop in the dining room. It's a gorgeous piece of art. And her intention is to keep the spirit of the house alive. What has come before is not to be discarded. It is to be integrated. It is to be honored. It is to be elevated. And what a metaphor for all of us. That whatever we have in our past, we all have closets, yes? Some of them are pretty dark and scary. Some of them we've spent years cleaning out. But not to throw it all away. Truly honor the beauty that is a part of that process. The beauty that is a part of our own. And so is related stories of the team that tear it down and build it back up again. And when we hear a story, we are connected at a human level. We understand that their story is our story. There have been times in my life when I have felt like a house and seen the possibility and the potential and been willing to pull the doors and windows, the boards off of the doors and windows to get to the heart of me. I wouldn't be here now. We do that for each other all the time. Every encouraging word, every kindness, every time we stop long enough to actually look at the person who's waiting on us in the restaurant or the store or the coffee line. In that connection, we're validating the house. And that's who I'm here to be. This is who we are meant to be. All the time, we say life is for us. Everything is God. It's all good. And in each season, that is true. In each season, it is true. But how do we make the best use of each season? How do we take those dark times and understand and use them that in ways that support and move us forward? Story of a 100-year-old weightlifter. I just like that phrase, 100-year-old weightlifter. Her name is Edith Murray. A couple decades ago, a friend of hers dragged her to the gym because she didn't want to go by herself. Edith didn't want to go to the gym. She's like 80-something. Why not go to the gym? Who does that? Because she saw all these people out and lifting weights, and she picked up a couple hands. I can do this. But talk about the best use of the season. The season of her life when, her family's probably gone. Obviously, they're all living their own lives now. She's got free time. What do you do with the season of all this free time and you don't have to work? What's best use? If you really believe that every season empowers us, uplifts us, makes us new, blesses us with gifts, then you realize that what you want to choose is your strength and your power. I don't want to enter the life weaker, something even better. And that's what she did. And again, this is looking beyond appearances. She could have looked at the next 20 years and thought, oh, well, that's it. I might as well just take up knitting or something. But we make these assumptions, right? We look at a 100-year-old person and assume they're frail. We look at a weightlifter and assume they're youthful. We look at a burned out house and think it's a total loss. We look at a job loss and think our professional life is derailed. We're a failure somehow. We look at dandelions and we see weeds. But we don't have to. We are at choice. And we do our spiritual practice so that we might remember that the power for anything and everything we desire is within us. It has already been given. We are already part of this unified whole of life that has an infinite supply of ideas, of possibilities, no matter what form it takes. No matter which rooms have been added on or taken away. We have the ability to go from good to better to even better at every stage of our lives. Ernest Holmes says, we are to look for God in each other and love this God, forgetting all else. Now, he has a lot of words for God. How about this? We are to look for the beauty in each other and love this beauty, forgetting all else. We are to look for the love and the peace in each other and love this peace, forgetting all else. We are to look for the joy, the abundance, the power in each other's heart and love that, forgetting all else. To love is to nourish, to nurture, to support. We are to love the best in each other so that we might all rise, that we might all bloom again in the spring. One of my favorite authors is Mark Nepo. He has a book, 7,000 Ways to Listen, and he has a chapter called The Human Garden. It starts out, how I love people. I love how we root and bloom, how we twine around each other and reach for the light, how as far as we grow in the dark of the earth is as far as we stand in the world. How being human, we're always charged with the vibrancy of a larger presence, and how the complexity of our humanity mirrors this larger presence. In truth, we mirror everything living as we climb and stumble our way up the mountain of the cliff of yes. I recognize each person I come across because I am each on a given day. What matters is whether I shun those who bear my flaws or help them up. Whether I turn away when this larger presence seems too strong or keep my human eyes open. Whether I find a way to meet what is incomprehensible and somehow draw strength from it. What matters is if we can make it to the cliff of yes and shout our secrets to the sky till heaven is the song we choose to sing on earth. The song we choose to sing. In the show, The Voice, which we've talked about before because it's such a good Science of Mind show, people audition to be in this contest, the singing contest, and the judges don't see them unless they're willing to accept their voice on their team. And so people who normally might be judged by their appearance or their ability or disability or some physical characteristic are protected, and the only thing that is judged, so to speak, is the quality of their voice. And what I noticed as someone who watches the show, that I too make judgments based on appearance, because we, the television audience, we get to see this person ahead of time. And I can hear it in my own head. Oh, he's kind of an older guy, isn't he? Or, wow, I've never seen a woman who's bald that wasn't coming out of cancer. It's like I have this whole dialogue going on, not maliciously so, but categorizing the people I see based on how they look. Hello, this is my profession. You'd think I would know better and I wouldn't do that, but we all do it. We all do it. And what happens is, and the reason I think I love this show so much, is that we get to know the stories of the people. And all of a sudden, their size, or their coloring, or their ability or disability fades into the background because I know something about their heart, their story. And most of these people have had a recent loss, or they had a hard time coming up, or they're in a difficult place, and this is kind of a last chance for them. And you know what? That's all of us on any given day. That's any of us on one day or another. And the story itself creates a bigger picture of what I'm looking at, who I'm looking at, where I'm looking from. The story creates the connection. And the connection is what we resonate with, and it's why we are here. We belong to each other, in this human garden that we might nurture and support each other in our growth. And that includes the dark times of deepening and the bright sunlight of blooming and growth. Roger Teal, there's a little bit more of Mark first. He says, all of us are roots and shoots in the human garden. And as far as we root in the earth is as far as we sprout in the world. Each of us destined to find our particular path to the light, so much depending on whether we choke each other or not along the way. And Roger Teal, Reverend Dr. Roger Teal, was the founding and senior minister at Mile High in Denver, Centers for Spiritual Living. He says, when we shine our light into another's life, it leaves a lasting radiance. It teaches how we can heal our world, that love and light are real. Everything else is illusion. Light shared stirs up the embers of compassion, the greatness of spirit that is everyone's true gift to the world. So while darkness is a part of the rhythm of life, so is light. And while weeds do crop up in every garden now and again, let's remember that some of them make very good wine. Namaste. Let's pray together. Focusing once again on that heart space, that place within where our own spark of light burns eternally. That light that is the very love and breath and joy and energy that we are. Breathing into that space which is vast and infinite in its knowing of peace, of love, of beauty. And from this place, remembering that we are part of the universal light, part of the universal rhythms of life, part of even the universal darkness. For the truth of us is that spirit in and as us is us. And so from this place, I speak a word of peace out into my world. I speak an expression of joy out into my world. I speak my word for the intricate connections, one heart to another, as we move together and move apart and come back together again. I trust and I know that love is the truth, that light is always true, and that anything unlike love and light will be healed by that very love and light, the wholeness of it revealed. So where there is shadow, I speak the words of light. Where there is pain and trauma or sadness and loss or worry or fear, I speak the word of light, of love, of belonging, of acceptance. I speak a word of appreciation and gratitude. For I know that each and every bent tree or straight sequoia lives in the light after its own fashion. That deep roots supply the sustenance and nourishment that are needed, just as the sunlight warms the branches and the leaves. And we are no less than that. We too are nurtured and supplied from the foundation of our being up to the eternal sky. That this reaching higher that as human beings we are called to do, this reaching higher is always the soul's call to be the best and then to be even more. And I am grateful Grateful for this healing light and love that is the truth of life. Grateful for all of the fellow travelers I meet on the way. Grateful for every shared smile and helping hand, whether offered or received. For in this is Spirit at work. In this is Spirit in me, in you. And it is good, and it is very good, for it is truly all God. Here, now, always, and in all ways. And so it is. In your program, you will find the affirmation for today. And because we are including our friends that are watching from home, I'll say a line and ask you to repeat it after me as you read. Today I choose to practice gratitude for the bounty of life. I see the divine in all things. All is light. And so it is. All right, I do want to remind you that I want to remind you and thank you for your ongoing contributions. Those of you online continue to give generously. Thank you so much for being part and parcel and owner of this congregation, this community that we all treasure. For those of you here in the room, there are baskets at the back doors, which I invite you to place your contribution in. And I also want to remind you that how you contribute is not only your treasure, but also your time and your talents and simply your presence. So if you will, putting your hand over your heart, saying with me our prosperity affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Thank you, and we welcome back the Jacksons.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. What a wonderful place to be. We're so thankful to be here, to have you here, to be able to share our music, to be able to hear Reverend Tracy's words. You know, every week when we come and we listen to what she has to say, I get a certain idea of what I hear. But it's not until I go home, you know, that those words really come back during the week to me. So, this last week, we spent some time writing some new music, and it was all based on what we heard last week. So, anyway, but we're going to, this is called The Earth is Moving, and there's a little bit of rhythm in it, and rhythm seems to be something that is innate within us. So, if you should feel like tapping your foot, please do. We are traveling in constant motion, inspired by love's eternal power. I feel connected to all existence, and I am open to knowing all we need is love. Yes, I know, and I'm grateful and joyous Love is moving deep within me. Flowers blossom as we search for the sun. I'm evolving, and I welcome the founding. All the good to me that's known. Yes, I know, and I'm grateful. And love is yours if you give it away. If doubt befalls me, I ask for answers. The Spirit guides me from within the answers. In those moments, I let love fill me. I want for nothing, because in truth I have it all. Yes, I know, and I'm grateful and joyous. Love is ours if we give it away. The earth is turning, and we are traveling in constant motion, inspired by love's eternal power. I feel connected to all existence, and I am open to knowing love is all we love. All we need is love. All we need is all we need is love.
You guys are amazing. That was fabulous. I want for nothing. What else do you need to know, right? Hey, a little bit about what's going on. Let's see. We have sign-up sheets in the foyer for Village Venture. We have a couple more weekends to go. Before that, it's the 23rd. Okay. We need people to come have fun with us at the booth, otherwise known as helping and signing up for a shift. Yes? Yes. Here's the deal. We simply want to be visible to our outside neighbors. We want them to know that we're nice, friendly people, and you are all already nice, friendly people. So don't think that you have to give deep philosophical answers to questions that people might ask you. We're going to schedule it so there's a practitioner next to you that can give that answer if required. But what we do want to know, people to know, is that we're here, what we do on Sundays. We have our Wednesday nights. This is a little bit about how we think about life, and hey, come join us if you'd like. So there are 2-hour shifts available. We could always use help setting up early and breaking down afterwards. Many hands make light work. So I hope that you will enjoy Village Venture at least part of that day from behind our table that says change happens here. Because that's the truth of who we are. We come here to create positive change for ourselves and therefore in the world. So I invite you to join us for that. We're also still looking for prosperity volunteers, folks that might once a month like to assist us with taking care of the contributions that come in. Graham is here today, so if you have questions, he can tell you a little bit more about what's needed. And we would love to have a team of people so that, you know, it's just not right for Graham to be alone in the world, right? We want to be his friends, don't we? Yes, we do. And he's been very gracious in taking care of our prosperity needs throughout the pandemic year and with various volunteers that have been able to help, but we're looking to build our team. So think about that and join us for that. If you're not sure if you want to, try it for a week or two and see how it goes. You might be surprised. It's a great way to contribute to your community. Anything else anybody have anything else? Okay, I think we're good to go. As far as a service for Bill, we haven't heard anything yet. When we know that, we will make sure that the word gets out via e-blast or in the announcements, all right? Okay, I'm going to invite our practitioners to come up. And this is just so you know who they are, and you too might personally step into your own truth by talking to one of them. Allow your practitioners to support you in prayer, in consciousness, in celebration, whatever it looks like for you. These are the folks that are here for you and that support the consciousness of our community all the time. So knowing that truth is spoken here and always, I want to say a word of blessing to all of us that we move forward in this week, seeing only the good, knowing that when it doesn't look good, there's good anyway, because what we know is that God is there in the form of beauty or love or peace or wisdom. It is all there is. It is all that we are. And this is our truth. And so it is. I invite you to stand up and circle around the room and give a little dance move to your neighbor as we rock out to Love in the Sanctuary.
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat with me. We come together. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life. Every walk of life. Every creed and color. Every creed and color. In kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love.